Why do people with detrimental diseases, like Huntington, decide to have children knowing they have a 50% chance of passing the disease down to their kid? Often this is unintentional. A person with HD may not know they have it until in their 40s or later, by which time they may have already had kids. Edit. Getting a lot of comments on this not answering the question, missing the point, which is understandable. I'm trying to offer a different perspective based on what often happens in real life when people with HD have children. There is a real possibility of not knowing BC. In reality, there may not be a family history, especially with HD BC, of late-term presentation and anticipation, a genetic thing that causes those in the family that first get it to become symptomatic very late in life, if at all, and with each successive generation getting it earlier. It's also been historically difficult to diagnose, with lots of misdiagnosis and social factors that may make family history unknown as well. So I feel like it's relevant to mention that people may not be aware of their status as a carrier and would be unable to make an informed choice, but would nonetheless have children, who would then have to face the terrifying news that they may or may not have HD when an older family member is diagnosed. There's a woman in the UK that has a daughter with the condition that makes a person's skin grow excessively fast. The girl has to take 3-hour baths every day to remove the extra skin and wear a super thick layer of lotion under her clothes at all times. It is a painful genetic condition that the mother has a 50-50 chance of passing on to her children. This woman decided, when her first was around 10 years old, that she wanted another baby. The second was born with the same problem, except the mother now thinks maybe she's too old to do all the extra care the new baby needed, on top of her eldest daughter's special needs. I was so angry when I heard she had another, knowing what she knew. It's the height of selfishness to say, "We'll deal with it," when you're not the one that has to spend 80 years with your skin falling off. Edit. Counting Clouds has left a link here to the documentary on YT. I don't know how, or I would leave it here. It was a 25/75 chance of passing it on, and the girls were closer in age than I thought. I haven't seen it in years. My apologies. Some more possibilities. Parents doing IVF can screen out embryos carrying the gene. I know a couple that did this for HD. People can also use sperm or egg donors. This information is typically private. Huntington's disease runs in my family. My grandmother had it. Of her 4 sons, it killed 3 of them. Only her oldest son, my father, had children, and we were born before the test was available and before she began having symptoms in Korea. I have been tested and don't have it. My brother isn't so lucky. Me and my partner have a similar quandary, and a lot of people around us are very pro towards having children towards my partner. My partner suffers from hidradenitis suppurativa, which is a chronic skin condition that's lifetime and can debilate her at times because of how bad it gets. She's stuck with this her life, and it'll only get worse as she gets older. There is no cure or method of treatment that is effective. Her mum has the same condition. It's majoritively girls that develop it. It's an Afro-Caribbean disease, but she's white British, so is the family, so they're unsure where it sprouted from. We've both agreed that I don't want kids BQC of certain line of trauma, and she doesn't want to risk having a girl and putting them through what she has. When she tells her close county workers this or select family, they find that thought process almost monster-like, saying, "What if your mum had that thought about you? You wouldn't be alive." And while that's true, I think we all have right to make a conscious decision whether we go through with it, aware of the pain we may be inflicting on a child if it were to be a girl. We've agreed if we ever would, we'd adopt or provide through the care system, as I went through it myself and know it needs more good people for the many children in care across the country. So, but then people say to us, "But it wouldn't be your kid. You wouldn't have that blood bond with them." And that's just an opinion I outright disagree with, but some people just don't understand the hard choice that has to be made. Huntington is late onset, so by the time they know they have the disease, they've already had kids. Schizophrenia runs in my family pretty badly for this reason. I refuse to have children. I had a psych professor in college whose brother had severe schizophrenia, and she said she'd love to have kids with her husband, but there is no way she'd risk it after seeing what she'd seen. I always really respected that. I dated a guy with a bad kidney disease that his mom passed down. It only shows up in guys. His mom knew that if she had a boy, he would have this. No guy in her family had lived past like 32. She had a boy and a girl. I always wondered WTF. His dad was pretty overbearing, so I kind of assumed he pushed for it, but IDK. Just so you all can rest easy. The ex-BF has had a kidney transplant and is doing well. Totally awful boyfriend though. Haha.